Good afternoon, evening, everyone. I'd like to begin with apologies for absence. I believe we have apologies from Deputy Chair, Mr. Hughes. And as such, we need a deputy.
No.
No, okay, fair enough.
Baptist.
We haven't had any apologies from Councillor Mrs. Belsey, have we?
No.
Fair enough. If we could note those apologies.
Thank you.
Next is any declarations of interest. If anyone has a declaration of interest, please let me know. Thank you very much. Next is to approve the meetings or approve the minutes of the meetings held on the 17th. Those have been circulated. Does anyone have any questions? Anything at all? I'd like to propose we accept those meetings as an accurate record.
I'd like to second that, Chair.
Perfect. Any other comments? Perfect. Can we go move to a vote, please? Thank you very much. Chairman's announcements. Do we need to sign? Yeah, in front of me.
Yeah.
I was going to say chairman's announcements. I haven't got anything but some good news from the outdoor service team. You'd probably be able to give a better explanation than I can, but we've had 2 new people join us, I believe.
We have offered, made an offer to 2 new people to come and join the outdoor services team at the end of one will start on the 29th of September and one on the 1st of October.
Nice.
That'll be a lovely addition to our already fantastic outdoor services team, and especially during the winter months as well. So that's all I have for announcements. Next is on the delegated decision. I think this is just for noting. Has everyone had a chance to read the decision? Are there any comments? Okay, can I suggest that it's just for noting, so I'm just
Noted.
good. Next we have the tourism report. Alice.
Thank you, Chair. I can just run through. We've been busy at the desk in the library as always, which is great. Merchandise sales have gone well, particularly helped by having the Zebo selling the merch at Eastport Live with councillors supporting that, so thank you very much. Our guidebook is at the printers, which is very exciting, so I can't wait to show you all as soon as that is ready. I'll leave it in your pigeonholes upstairs, and obviously they'll be available here and at the library, possibly even the museum as well. So I think that's a really good showcase of the town, what you can do in the town and surrounding areas. We have our calendar competition. The town clerk has kindly judged the photos for us. So that is just in the process of getting made at the moment. So that will be available to buy from the library probably in about 4 weeks' time. Ready for the Christmas rush and the New Year, so that'll be exciting. And we will be selling it at the Christmas market as well. Social media has exploded in a really good way. Izzy has been focusing a lot on social media and it's really paying off. She's doing all sorts of things that young people do, like reels and things like that, which are really popular. And it's really good to see. Yeah, and I just put in some Google Analytics as well that we get on our Visit East Grinstead website as well. So getting hits on that, people looking up what things there are to do. And as a team, we do spend quite a lot of time updating that. So it's good that people are actually using it. And then on to events. The July Eastport Live was going brilliantly until the weather was against us quite dramatically. But everyone worked really well to make sure that everyone was safe and yeah, just got out of the crazy weather. We did do feedback surveys for both of the events, and the report of that actually is included in here if you want to have a look. But overall, positive feedback. People even commented they enjoyed dancing in the rain. and some constructive feedback, which we'll take on board as well. So really useful to do that, and we will be doing that for all of our events going forward. So the pump track, that was a last minute new event that we have put on. So it was great that funding was found for that. The event day itself was really successful. We had young people queuing up before the event had even started with their bikes to have a go. There was really excited buzz going on during the day, and we kind of came back every day to have a look, and it was being used every time we popped by. We got reports seeing people using it, and we had 110 people filling out the survey, which is really good result, to say how much they enjoyed it and that they'd really like a permanent one. And I think that that's something that the committee would potentially consider, and I can look at options for costings and what there is in terms of having a larger one similar to what there is, having permanent ones, having temporary ones. There's lots of different options that I'd be interested in getting people's feedback on. I'm just going in date order here, so we can always come back to that. Eastcourt Live, August, I think that was my favourite one yet. It all just went really smoothly. The sound was good. The bands were great. Everything was going really well. We had a really buzzing top terrace with all the different charities that we have attending now, and that was working really well. And yeah, if councillors agree to have the merch stall and to help us man that, I think that was successful, and hopefully a good opportunity for you to speak to members of the public as well in quite a relaxed setting. So just carrying on with the schedule then, VJ Day, we did the 2-minute national silence, and John Chisholm did a very successful tour around Mount Noddy. It was very interesting, and people really enjoyed that, so it's something that we might consider doing again. The classic car show was this Sunday. That all went really well. It was very well attended by people. Unfortunately, we were let down by the number of cars. We had 90 cars booked and 22 motorbikes, and we had about 63, I think it was, cars turn up. So there was less than we'd expected, which was disappointing. But then we had 10 cars randomly turn up, including a vintage fire truck, so that kind of made up for it. And people who didn't really know what to expect didn't realise that we were missing some of the cars that we'd hoped to have there. And we got so much positive feedback that the quality and the variety of cars and motorbikes there were really interesting. It was busy before the event even started. And yeah, we've also done a feedback survey for that, so we're just gathering the results on that. We've done one to attendees, and we've also sent one out to the exhibitors to get their feedback for future, and to ask them, those that didn't attend, why didn't they attend? Because only 4 people phoned me on the morning to say they couldn't come, so I'm not sure yet what happened to the others, apart from cars not starting and illness. Was what we were wondering, whether they'd gone to a different show. Because we heard on the day that there's one near Lewes, and because the weather was so spectacular that they potentially decided to go for a nice drive to that one, and that people generally apply to all the car shows and then decide on the day which one they want to go to. So we'll have to work on that for next year, because yeah, that doesn't make it quite as easy to plan the event, because I don't want to overbook too many on the high street and then not have anywhere to put them. So a bit of a balancing act. So we're having a team debrief tomorrow on that, just to make some plans for next year. But so many people have said that we hope we do it next year, and I believe that will be the plan. And then moving forward to the next events, Remembrance Day. My team will be organising that this year, and we are underway with those preparations. The road closure has already been submitted, and the same with Big Reveal. The road closure has been submitted for that. I'm working with Alison on the Christmas lights, and the Christmas market as well. We are going to be advertising this week for stall holders wanted. We've already been inundated with requests, so we're not going to have any problem getting our stall holders. We're just working out the intricacies of how many stalls we can actually fit in East Court Hall, because I haven't done an event like that here before, so and then we'll be going out to the public to get. Yeah, so I've just put at the end of my report here, if any councillors have any ideas for events for next year, we are starting planning for next year, so please throw ideas in and we will work out what is deliverable and come back to you with yeah, what's possible and budgets and things like that to decide at the next AMC committee. Any questions?
Councillor.
Thank you, thank you. It's a really good report and it was really good to see so many, the questionnaires done and the responses to that and everything. And it was debriefing from the questionnaires and after the events as well, because it really is beneficial for moving through these
Yes,
changes.
it has been useful.
Yeah, I mean, we noticed that the shortage of cars, and I'm glad to see you're already trying to address that for next year to see, so there's not any gaps.
Yeah.
And really the feedback from East Court Live, it's all positive, and the things that they want changing on it would make the event a different type of event, like they're saying,
Absolutely.
they want more, they want this, they want that.
Yeah.
It defeats the object of the event, I feel
Yeah.
that, I think there's such a good show on already. I do agree with a few comments about the compare.
Yes.
Compare was, you know,
Yes.
but I know you've already addressed all that. I know July, there was a thing about the bar, by the time we got to August, different plans were in place, so you were running all the time and changing, which was fantastic. Glad to see that the pump track was so successful. It's something that a lot of us were quite passionate about happening. Interesting to see how that can move in the future. And I did really like your question 11 on that. What else would they like to see for the age group? And there is quite a list.
Yeah.
And quite a financial commitment on that list, so it's definitely something to go away and think about, but again, it's space and whether it's our land or whether it's somebody else's land,
Yeah.
like in Sussex or stuff, but well done for getting all of that and getting it into the report for us. It was good to read, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Sparrow. Councillor Barnett.
Yes. Very good report. Thank you very much. It was very good to see just how happy people were, both at the car show and at the last of the East Court Lives. It was everybody was so, you know, dancing around and all the rest of it, and making comments about how happy they were and how good it was. So I mean, that's very good to. It's always rewarding when you organise something and you actually get that sort of response.
Absolutely.
And it certainly is you know, very undoubtedly you'll get some people complain about some things.
Yeah.
The catch with the cars, I suppose, is down to trying to balance how many.
Yeah.
Do you take the chance of marginally overbooking on the assumption that some will go?
10% expecting cars not to start.
Yeah.
So yeah, we weren't expecting what happened, but it worked out in the end. But
Yeah.
yeah, we want to learn for next year.
No, the people who were there were happy, and it's just
Yeah, I had loads of people in person and online social media.
very good.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Barnett. Councillor O'Leary, thank you, Councillor. Thank you, Chair. I know I'm not supposed to talk, but a couple of things. I just want to thank all the officers for all their work in the summer. Really good, well done, Alice, and everybody involved. So great effort, incredible. And it's just really about pump track, surprisingly. I'd really like to see if we can take that forward. So as a committee, I'd really like to see what we can do officially in terms of moving that forward for the town. I know there are land issues and things like that, which obviously need to be negotiated and got around or whatever, of where it's going to be located. But I think it'll be really good. Having seen that website that you sent over to me, the guys that organise the pump track, they've got some fantastic other modular, more permanent things as well.
Yeah, they have so many different options.
Really awesome. It'd be amazing to have that. And also Burgess Hill have got things, Kroger have got things, for their young people. I think it's about time these schools had something too. Thank you. Thank you very much. I think last, Councillor.
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, well done, Alice. I'm so sorry I haven't been able to support you as much this year as I'd have liked to.
No problem, help me out.
King George's Field is
Yeah.
actually a field in trust
Mm.
because I've been doing some deep diving. So it's not owned by Mid Sussex. It's given to the people of East Grinstead for recreation. Well, if the pump track isn't recreation, I don't know what is. And I'd wholeheartedly support pump track because it was so good to see all the small children on it. Thanks.
Absolutely, thank you.
Perfect. Take care, everyone. Thank you very much. Sorry.
Oh, I can add some information here if you like. I had a meeting with Rob Anderton last week, a week's gone, about the pond. And I also raised about the field as well, because in fact, actually, what's interesting is what I said to you, the pond, the field and the site for the King's Centre are a single deed, on a single deed, so it's all one piece of land. And I did, said we want field, we want to improve the skate park, we want to talk to you about this now, not a couple of years down the line. Can we do something about this? And he said he'd take it away and talk to whoever, but he did kind of suggest that rather than handing over the field, we could perhaps talk about licensing the land and then we pay to install the pump track on the land. Now, I'm still waiting to provide me with his information about the pond, but I'm certainly already trying to get our agenda very firmly across that we want to do something like that, and that it has been done before. I know that another council who they installed a skate bowl on Mid Sussex land. They maintain the skate bowl, they make sure the safety tests are done, but the land is still owned by Mid Sussex. So there's no reason in theory why we couldn't just, even if they won't, for their reasons, discuss the transfer of the land to us. There is perhaps a way we can look at just leasing it for the purpose of installing pump track. So I'll keep on pushing for that. And
And lastly, a question from.
Well, it's really good to come back in the contract, really. If we can have it something agreed by the committee that we want to move forward with it and actually have it so that I would obviously doing the work, but obviously have the costings because of permanent and temporary timing, because it might have to get something temporary for next summer, so we can repeat it before we get something permanent in, but look at both of them and because of timing and it's season. But I want to give this committee, we could move forward with something.
I'm happy to do that. I did have a very quick question regarding that pump track. In your report, it says that the costings would be for a larger track, potentially. Did we have any or statistics on usage that would suggest we needed a larger one?
Don't have any statistics. That is just the one that we had at that time was the smallest one that they offered. Because that was the only one that was available. And when you see it against the skate park and everything, it looked small. It's limited to its usage. And I think if we were going to do it again or get a permanent one, it really would need to be bigger to make it more worthwhile, because you're literally, that one that we had was, as fun as it was, it was a small oval. You can get figures of 8, you can get all sorts of different things. So that was the most basic option that there was.
Perfect, thank you. So if we're going to make a decision on that today, I think possibly.
well, what I'll do is I'll note that you would like a future contract to be added to the next agenda and that we look into options and potential costings.
Ready for
And yeah, we can bring that to the agenda next time.
And is everyone happy to do that?
Yes.
Perfect, thank you very much. I think that's that agenda done. If we can now pass on to Alison for the Estates and Civic Board.
Thank you, Chair. Feedback. The feedback on hanging baskets this year has been greater than any feedback we've had. They've looked amazing. It's been a double-edged sword. I think we spent the adult services team just watered. And we've never had to water every day, something. It's been a tough old few weeks to get there. It was worth it because I think the display's been out of this world, but it has been quite hard in manpower At least the grass stopped for the summer, but the grass is lovingly coming back, so we're going to be doing it in autumn instead. We're very lucky like that. We're starting the festive lights application and trying to speak with the contractors, that we unfortunately lost our sort of the person that we were dealing with, our main contact, and it's now becoming much more of a stress trying to sort of deal with them, but we're sort of on that case. King Street toilets is a never ending. I would say I don't have a week that the King Street toilets don't come up. They don't go across the desk with something that's been antisocial behaviour, the drains are blocked, urinals are problems, something's been, the automatic flushing got broken, so we sorted that out. They got shut on 2 occasions because people were sleeping outside and just causing all sorts of trouble. And our latest one is where they just break the toilet roll holders and nick the toilet rolls on a daily basis. These toilet rolls are this big. I have no idea what people are doing with them. We have now bought the most expensive toilet roll holders money can buy, as far as I can make out, to good advice from Mid Sussex. They said they were almost indestructible, fingers crossed. And so they have just been installed because it is a never ending issue that we're having. The main other job we're doing at the moment is obviously preparing for autumn, so all the flower beds will be taken out and changed, so we're just getting final quotes and sort of talking. So we're looking to have a slight change list next year. We do sort of tend to do a great display, but to be honest, the winter display just looks like a slightly dead looking flower bed until spring. So the thoughts are we're actually going to put actual less plants in, so it's actually going to look slightly less, but much more bulbs. So come spring, it should really pop, 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 pop. So we've Jasmine and Jenny the gardener have been choosing some fabulous displays, so we're going to give it a go, and we're hopeful that that is going to look fabulous this spring, because the winter doesn't do anything until the sun, till the wind, you know, until it changes. Same as the baskets, they look a bit green and nothingness, and they go pop for about a month, and then are taken down ready for the summer. So we're in the process of doing that. Obviously the baskets have got to go down because we're on the baskets as well. And the only other thing is, obviously we had a tree survey, so all the works on the tree survey have been, we've been working quite hard on making sure we do it in the order that they're needed. Obviously East Court and all the buildings are just an ongoing thing, but they're all right. So we've just recently started doing up the disabled toilet in the region, which has been the most complaints we've had on, because the design was really shocking. The sink was so small you couldn't wash your hands without flooding the toilet floor. So that is, we're just waiting on the flooring, but that now looks really good. So if you get a chance, please go and have a look at it. And the play park currently has some it's been cornered off the rotor bouncer because it started squeaking over the holidays. It got worse and worse, and when we really carefully inspected, we think there's a fault in it. So just to be on the safe side, we've called them and we're waiting on them coming in for that. Obviously, we got the green flag, but that was actually awarded just before the last meeting. But actually, we finally got all the flag and everything sorted out, and the grounds appreciations have been nearly as good this year as the flowers. I think that's about the only interesting thing I've got to say on the report.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Very good tell.
Yeah, we are doing comparative to work with Alice is obviously the display we're doing for Remembrance this year.
Yeah.
Which, considering the effort we put in, I hope is
Making a copy.
it's looking amazing. So every name on the war memorial, because we're obviously it's the 80th year, will have its own copy in the flower beds, and they will all have their own names on them as well. Started in January, fingers crossed we're done by October, so yeah. obviously we're working with Alice on that.
I remember popping in and seeing your hard work.
Hobbies have been going all year, haven't they? So-
Yeah, thank you so much for that. Does anyone have any questions? Also,
Yeah, thanks, Joe. Quick question. Looking at the budget and income, it's interesting to see actual income is higher than was budgeted. Is that because we've seen a large increase in hiring events that we weren't aware of or didn't
It's
anticipate, or is
sort
it
of
price
where we
increase?
This time of year. It's not quite to see, so this is the bumper time that of anything that you see.
It's interesting, it's 71% up on budget and 19% up year on year, so it's encouraging. And even Eastbourne Mansion. Okay.
You've got managing the luxury of regular hire attendant. Attendant who hired all the bills for the day quite a lot, obviously they haven't been told, so that could have a bit of, you know. We've obviously taken on some side, we've now added that into the report as with all the other reports.
Thank you.
thank you, Councillor Payne.
Thank you. Is Sunnyside struggling slightly in comparison, or is?
No, it's struggling massively.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, they've just taken it over, but you know, I truly believe Alice's team did everything they can. My understanding is, talking to Alice and the team, is that the parking is always going to be an issue and it continues to be an enormous issue.
Is the storage an issue? Because I know that some people, the regular hirers, they were talking about storing. Did that still?
We did have a storage unit, we offered
Yeah.
it to all the regular hirers, and no one actually came back and took us up on it. I
Okay.
know at the initial discussion.
And that's what they wanted, wasn't it? Yeah, I remember.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
And then
remember.
they-
Yeah.
We've never got it at capacity. It is always going to be limited to what it can offer. It is well used by people in Sunnyside and
Okay.
also the youth club. And I think we've just got to keep on pushing it and advertising it and
Yeah.
making sure people are aware. A lot of the times, people were, you know, we have had to offer kind of introductory discounts, which have been agreed.
Yeah.
To try and get in regular hirers and things like that.
So it's a work in progress still.
It is, yeah.
But it is, isn't it?
It's still not what it is, and so we can't.
Yeah.
We can't, you know, like these buildings have got the capacity to keep improving, and you know, it's weddings or big events that really bring
The money.
in income. This will always be a community building. The old courthouse is the same, but it's sort of propped up by tenants.
Yes.
And that, unless we one day look at just literally saying we have somebody in every morning, but it will reduce it'll increase the income, but it will reduce
The availability.
So, you know, it's always a balancing act on, you know, why did the council choose to purchase the building? Is sort of my feeling on, you know, and I'm not opinionated, I'm literally saying that's.
As a question.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you, Councillor Peacock again.
Yeah, I agree with you about Sunnyside. It was bought as a community building facility in that part of town, but for the wider town, it's also relatively low cost to many of the, actually say, venues that are out there. And it's going to take time to build it up. It's interesting, maybe it's down to a bit of discounting last year to launch it. You know, revenue is up, okay, it's only £1,100, but there's momentum there which suggests increased usage.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's going to take time, as everyone said. So.
Thank you. Less of a question, more of a statement, but in total agreement that the Stone Quarry storage room rent should be kept the same because they do incredible work. I've been down to see them multiple times. They're a great team, so we should be doing all that we can to support them. So thank you very much for that very detailed report. Is everyone happy to move
Can
on?
I just?
Oh,
I forgot.
yes, Councillor Woodford.
Alison, please could you extend Bloom's thanks to the outside team for their fabulous floral
Also,
care. It's been absolutely stunning this year, like you say. Thank you. Thank you. Was it a new supplier?
you know, it's 50%. And it is, we put those baskets up and had hope.
Yeah.
And I've been sort of on the desk going, you know, the weather's going to be right. Some years we don't get enough sunshine till very late. So they do bloom, but very late in the year. We have really perfected feeding them. No, it's the same supply as last year. There's no difference. So we haven't really done very much different, but you know, the weather plays a really good part, and then a good bit of management, not my management, I mean management of the actual services, you know, has really good. And but next year we could have hail, and obviously the rain has killed them off a bit faster than I'd hoped, because they took a bit of a battering, didn't they? Which is what happened. You know, we can have it good and beautiful, and they literally disappear overnight. So, but
I've just been informed that we do need to take a vote on the issue of the rent of Stone Quarry.
then 25% of any commercial rental we have, which is about all our charities now. My feeling now is we're up to where we should have been. To keep asking for more, I think the charity that is great for town is not something that I'm looking to in. And then to stop bringing this back, we will literally then give them a whole year's lease, and then we will manage it in-house on advice like we normally do with any other tenants. If you're happy to do that.
So I am happy to, well, my recommendation would be to accept and approve the recommendation by. Does anyone have any questions? Can we have a second?
I'm happy to second that, Chair.
Thank you very much. Any questions? Perfect, thank you. And can we have a vote on that? Thank you very much. No, you're
We need to
right
get to
you're right to bring it back. Sorry. Okay, perfect. Thank you very much for that. And I think that's all for noting. Anything else?
Noted, thank you. Thank you, Alison.
Now we're going to move on to burial services. So Ellie, if I could pass over to you.
So first of all, we have new watering cans in the cemetery in 4 sections that are chained up, and access them with PowerPoint or a token which you get back. Because we had a few incidents where they were being moved or they were being taken, and then some of them had started to deteriorate. So we took the decision to get new ones and put them in, and they seem to be working well. And people have, you know, if they haven't got any PowerPoint, they come and ask the team, and they give them something, put them down the cemetery for that. So that's where we're with that. We've been going through the cemetery, looking at burial plots that have been overgrowing or might not be within the rules and regulations, and contacted deed holders and giving them a month's notice to remove these so that they're in line with the rules and regulations. And most of the people we've spoken to have been happy to do that, and that's what we did that. The Garden of Remembrance. We talked about the last meeting about the columbariums, and we were going to put them at the bottom to D. We spoke with the town clerk and went up to the top of 5C, because that is the hardest section to dig because of the layer of sandstone that goes in there, and it's very, very deep, and it's hard for the team to, it takes them longer to dig, sort of 2 days as opposed to half a day, 1 day. So we decided that it would be best to put the columbariums up there, because we haven't got to dig so deep to the foundations and things like that. So there is a recommendation for agreeing to move it up to that section than the lower section. And once we have submitted the final bit of the planning permission, that will then go out and wait for any proposing or something like that, and then we can contact the SO1 money, S106, sorry,
Yeah.
S106 money. She already has our report, so once we get the green light, we can just say to her, can we move forward with that? And then once we've done that, then we can start advertising and let people know that we've got that there. Again, the last meeting we spoke about the memorial wall, we've got 2 new signs coming. With the 2 different quotes on, we're just waiting for those to be delivered and installed. One will say, this memorial wall provides a peaceful space for reflection and remembrance. And the other one will say, every ending holds a promise for a new beginning, or memories bloom forever, and that will be on the Scattergarden side, that one, and the other one will be on the other side. Another area that we were looking at is that small piece of land at the front of Mount Nodding.
Yeah.
So it's owned by Guinness Partnership, who, when I spoke to the officer there, said it was basically no man's land to them because they can't build anything on it. And it's not a priority for them to put any sort of landscape to it. So I discussed with the town clerk, and I met with him and with one of the outdoor services team to discuss possibility of them somehow working out some way that it can come back to the community, which is what he said. He said if it was going to be more of a cemetery, they probably wouldn't be happy to hand it over or sign it over. But if it was going to be more sort of a community area, like a tranquil garden or some sort of quiet space, then they would be happy to sign it over. It may be that we need to pay solicitor fees, but we wouldn't have to buy the land from them.
Yeah.
And I'm still waiting to hear back from him because he had to go to his bosses, who had to go to their bosses. So it's just taking the process. So hopefully that would be quite good. And a couple of the outdoor services team quite keen to get going and get started on that. So yes, once I know more, I can let you know. It'll be one time for the next report. All of the memorial safety testing has now been completed for all sections on all grades. So we won't have to do it again for another 3 years, I believe it is. Yes, because it's the 3 years from the first step.
Yeah.
So we've gone through. That's that. And Leeds Road Cemetery. The goats have gone home. They have gone home because last week, they decided to start escaping.
Yeah.
Because, so the reason they escaped this time was because they stripped everything.
I was gonna say, it's gone.
Everything.
Done. The road path is gone.
All that's left is the shoot and the bramble. So you can actually see what is there. And it just looks, I mean, we went down there, I went down with Stan and down as well, the office, and you go down and you compare both sides and it's night and day. I mean, it's amazing. And the farmer did apologise that they had tried to escape. And there's been some feedback as well from members of the public, so those things that we might look into, possibility of electrifying the fence, just to, to stop them trying to wander, sort of things like that, and moving some bits around, and we're hoping for them to come back in the springtime. And if they do come back in the springtime, they might be with us a bit longer, so we might open it up a bit wider and get some sort of shelter that the farmer said can be like do it yourself kind of job. But it can't be a shed because then some of the smaller ones will get bullied and won't get to eat. So it has to be sort of, they have to be able to walk through it.
Okay.
Because they only go in it if it rains. Other than that, it's nothing. They won't sleep in there or anything. So that's where we are with that. I have looked at cameras for the possibility of next time, so I'll just keep investigating that and how we can, if there's a way that we can get them linked to the website in any way. So that's my next mission. We've had some tree work carried out. that have now finished, and they were very mindful of the goats, although they did go down and say, "We couldn't see any goats." So I was like, "Well, definitely goats in there." So the goats were fine with that, the farmers had no problem. So that was okay. Still waiting for the structural engineer to get his report. His wife has been very sick, so he's had to put a lot of things on hold, and he did apologise. So yeah, that's where we are with that. The Belfry were very happy with the work that was going on with the goat. They were the ones that actually contacted me Saturday when the grass was got out and were peering over the walls.
It's a great picture.
Great picture of there's the three smaller ones peering over the wall. So yes, so they've been kind of keeping an eye out as well. One thing that they did mention was that who should they contact on a weekend, which is something we didn't think about at the time. So I did give them my phone number so that in case there was a problem. So yeah, so look at that. So and that's my book.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, and Councillor Beacon.
A couple of questions. First of all, about tidying and keeping the great plots in place. Obviously, there's been some comment shows out on Facebook. I'm right in thinking that the actual deeds have for 40, 50 years clearly stated the guidance and rules and regs basically of how the road should be maintained.
Copy of their deed for 50 years and a copy of the rules and regulations. The rules and regulations are also up as you go in the cemetery and a couple of places dotted around in the cemetery.
So it's not a
It's not a big, and the rules have been there for 20 plus years. Yeah, they've been there for a long time.
Thank you for clarifying. Second point, I do like the idea of trying to reclaim that piece of land at Mountain. Fantastic. So well done for the initiative on that. And thirdly, it's good to hear that the badgers didn't dig a tunnel. Well, not the badgers, the goats didn't dig a tunnel or use a badger holes to escape. So when we all went round on that trip, we all agreed we thought they would work, and they have.
Yeah,
The committee had agreed with a trip with the officers. So I would encourage you to, when you have the new fence in place, I think you should look at that.
Yeah.
Have them back on site. I think everyone would agree with that.
And see the complete different.
I think we
There's
should
no
actually-
path you can see, definitely.
It's
stripped.
Just even to look in the gap, it's completely different night and day. It's just.
Chairman, that's the thing.
Yeah.
Please.
Absolutely. Just so you know, we sent you out a little newsletter today, just some interesting information. And there are pictures in that newsletter of the current state of the Queen's Road Cemetery with a picture of the untouched side, so you can see just through the pictures the difference in what the brambles look like.
If we cut the brambles down now, by the time the spring comes when they regrow, there'll be 20% less growth. And the shoots will be much more lush, so there'll be a bit more for the goats. If they we can get back in springtime.
Follow-up question, sorry, Chair, if it's okay. If we haven't done already, you might be thinking about it. Can we on our Facebook page share before and after photos with residents so they can see the difference they've made? Because I think it's important. Some may have been a bit frustrated the goats escaped, but they can see why they were there.
I think next Councillor Farmer had a question.
So there's no surprise that goats escape and going to escape. I mean, it's an impossible task to keep the rascals in place, isn't it? But I mean, it's great to see that it's been successful. It had a big effect.
I wasn't sure it was going to work, but
Yeah,
we prevailed and it did.
yeah.
It did work, thank you.
And the other thing really is very much support the idea of trying to get hold of the bit of land as you go in, because that it makes quite a difference if that can be. plenty of comments about there being building there in the first place. But I mean, if we can make the area around it
Yeah.
nicer, then that would be pretty plus.
And also it helps with the team do maintain it as well. They do, they sort of lift the skirts on the trees as well. And when I said about the trees and, you know, possible, you know, issues with trees, they didn't seem too keen to deal with the trees. That seemed to be bone of contention for them. So I think they would be happy to get rid of the 6 trees that are there and just look after the ones that are a bit further up. So
With the wall, obviously getting a report's going to take some time. Did they give any indication at all? You could pick up on, you know, nothing, just a Brett Towns expression. Yes.
I'm going to be changing them up tomorrow and saying, I understand that things happen, but has been quite a long time. And we need to have that report so we know where we're going next, what we need to be doing. Because I've noticed a few people have started been erecting new fences, and I think that is one of the issues that is causing everything to then, it starts disturbing everything, and it was never actually meant to be a retaining wall, it was just a party wall. So yeah, so I mean, we need to know where we go from here, whose responsibility is what.
Yeah.
So yes, that's where we'll go with that.
Garden's gonna fall in.
I think that's it. So we do have a recommendation on to discuss about the moving of the columbarium site. I'm happy to approve that. I trust that that's the best. So I'm happy to propose that. Do I have a second?
Happy to second that, Chair.
Thank you very much, Councillor Barron. Any questions, comments? Perfect. Can we have a vote on that? Thank you very much. I believe that's it for our reports. If you guys would like to head out, that's your choice. But next on the agenda is the water fountain. Town Clerk, could I pass this over to you?
Yeah, she wants more than that.
Oh,
Yeah. So start with committee. I've gone through every single paper. I can't believe I have missed a paper that hasn't had an issue with the fountain. So the town council will have to take on the fountain, and from day one, I have really struggled to get the water to a decent drinking standard. In the beginning, we were recommended, we had a risk assessment with them, and we were recommended to get it tested after a month, then to get it tested after a couple of months, and then we should be sort of at the quarterly. We never got past the monthly because we never got to a stage where we were happy. But every time we had it done last year, we were told to run the water longer, do sort of different, recommend different things to do. We did have a meeting with the society, and one of the recommendations was that I think that we change who we're having it tested from, and we started the year taking advice from South East Water and taking advice from a different water Legionella expert. And even South East Water said run the water for 10 minutes, we turned it off, and then slowly go down to running it for a couple of minutes a day for a couple of weeks, and then start moving down to just running it sort of to start with 5 minutes a day until you can 5 minutes once a week until you can get the usage up to something quite good. So Alice's team kindly started a fabulous campaign on telling everybody it was, and then we had it tested, and after us running the water for 10 minutes per tap, and I did do it one day, and I need to know how embarrassing it's done for who's running a tap. when we were in a hose pipe ban. It also doesn't have drainage, so actually, because we weren't actually running water, I didn't quite realise that what it did was go into the hole next to it and fill up where the meter is. So I've no idea what damage that was eventually going to be causing, but I didn't really think about the fact that it had no drainage, so we were having that. And then had it tested, and then we were at the situation where it said it really wasn't fit for drinking. So we recommended from the clerk that we actually spoke to our insurers on where we go from now, and they really said until we can get it to a state that is drinkable, we just can't turn it on. They would not cover us, and they felt that we should leave it turned off. I have been in communication with South East Water. It's a very slow process, and in fact I have further correspondence today, and I have forwarded further correspondence on. The committee needs to decide whatever the committee wants to decide, but I have to say the time I've spent on this water fountain not making it fit for drinking has been relentlessly excessive from day one. I believe last year everything I was doing slightly wrong, and I could get it better, and I just had to do everything. And I got to the end, and it was still not good enough. And then we started this year with a whole new campaign, and I'm really hoping I was going to run for 10 minutes per tap, which is basically 20 minutes we're running that waterfall 5 days a week. And I was going to get to the end of it, and I was going to prove once we got the usage to a good standard, we could start taking back. And actually, what we need to do is really start, really promoting it and making sure that people understand if you don't use it, we can't keep doing this, and it would be. We run the risk of losing the fountain, because the time management was at least 2 men standing there, a man and me, like this, and really not being, but we just didn't get the results. I was actually quite taken aback when I got these results on where we were. Obviously, Mr. Woolley's coming to hear what I have to say on the matter, but I want to say I have given it everything I can, and I have really, really spent hours and tried really hard, and it keeps coming back to committee, and I'm really struggling. And I honestly don't feel we're ready to give up on it at all. But unless South East Water come back with something, I've got nowhere else to go. I've exhausted every bit of recommendation that I have received, and that's why I've sort of brought this to committee.
And I just want to make the point that Alison and her team have spent a lot of time on trying to get this to work. I really want to emphasise that, and I've spent a lot of time talking to Alison about what we do to make this work. The interesting fact for us is that throughout our meter readings, it demonstrates that the usage outside of us running that water was minimal. So I really want, when you're considering what you want to do, I think we have to take into account the benefit to the public of the continued time and resource expense on this water fountain. If it's 1 or 2 people perhaps using it versus the number of people who live in this town and the amount of time and effort that this council is spending on it, that is an important consideration to take.
I think Councillor Barnett first had a question.
Well, slightly sensitive maybe. Do we have, what is it, practical reason to get some sort of background comparative sample from another water user on the high street? I appreciate there's an awful lot of the premise on the high street catering, therefore this sort of thing would be very sensitive, but there are probably also shops that are non-catering shops where the amount of water throughput is less.
Okay, so, and that's been recommended by the society as well.
Yeah.
When I took recommendation by South East Water and the Legionella people, they said the issue you've got, when the shop showed It doesn't really help why the fountain hasn't. And it's not through lack of trying by this council. If the shop has poor water management and doesn't get good results, what am I supposed to do with them? Send them to somebody and say that that's poor results? They don't let me in, and I wouldn't let anybody into my room, just to be, I know I don't own it, the council, but I manage it, and I wouldn't let anybody else in, so just to be clear. The other problem is that South East Water said, all that could possibly prove is their water management and risk assessment is poor. It doesn't actually prove the water is poor. And that did come from South East Water. So again,
you're not comparing like with like either. A rarely used water fountain with a busy business. It's not comparing like with regards to the water coming through the system. So if that water fountain were being used by 4,000 people a day, you would possibly see better results. It's not. But if the water being run in those businesses is being run a lot more often, then you're going to see different results. So we don't recommend that there's any benefit in going around and testing the businesses in the area, because we don't think that will give us anything to.
Just wondering what the actual water quality is in the water main.
But also the businesses will have to be doing their own Legionnaires testing, because they're businesses, and that's what businesses have to do. So as to whether they would let us in, or even if the water quality is poor, would admit to that, because that would impact everything that they're doing.
That's why I said it's sensitive issue.
Yeah.
But if the quality of the water in the water main that we are taking our water off is only average, we ain't going to get anything better than whatever that is, no matter what we do.
No, and Alison has tried constantly to get somewhere with South East Water, and we just can't. They've I'm pretty sure they haven't they? Just told you it's not our problem at one point, but we keep trying.
So they have said up until they basically said until recently, the water quality, everybody's told me the water quality leading out to the fountain is good. And the issue is the fountain. Whereas as the society quite rightly pointed out, that's brand new pipes, it's all sealed. How on earth is that a good case? And I don't actually disagree with you. If you stick with the small one in the water fountain is good, you are now with the water quality in the pipe is poor. Now, obviously, we have had some more feedback from, and there's possibly a dead leg, but to be honest, I honestly have until recently believed that this water quality from South East Water, who I've spoken to on numerous occasions, the same gentleman that Mr. Worley recommended, no point so to me anyway that this could be poor quality. And when I have gone back to them and I have asked them, if it is, and there's a problem with the pipework, how did we get to where we were? Why did the society hand over a drinking fountain that's possibly now was never fit to be drinking water?
And this was used to assist
me. Particularly has done anything to where we've got to. It's been handed over.
Thank you, and I feel your passion and I understand your pain, because it has been relentless. I've been on this project from the beginning, and I was chair of A&T, and I suspected when we started this project it was going to be a difficult project, and I was right. Firstly, we were given, it was restored beautifully by the society, and it's beautiful, and it remains a beautiful statue, fountain, historical on our historical high street. I, with great sadness, feel that it is time for the water to stop, but to ensure that that fountain remains on our high street as a functioning piece of history, rather than a functioning fountain that could eventually kill it off. I know we had the grant for £5,000 from Mid Sussex to do what we're doing with it. That was always going to come back to committee once that 5,000 was spent, whether the town council could afford to maintain it. That was always going to be the position. We've still got £2,500 of that budget. That £2,500 remaining does not include the amount of time, if we time managed Alison of what she'd spent doing that and not doing other elements of her job because of the water quality, then I'm sure we're only looking about £500 left in the budget. Let's be fair about that. But it's with a heavy heart that I feel that in a society where people are quite happy to go, I'm ill from that, I'm going to sue that. If our insurers are going, putting signs up and everything, aren't going to support us as a council, I don't think we can be putting out water for people to drink. Also, and if we did any further work, it could damage the fountain that has been there for so long because of the sandstone, etc. I mean, sandstone always has a limited amount of time of how many times you can actually restore it anyway. And it'd be absolutely horrible to lose that for the sake of drinking water that we can't maintain safely. As sad as that is, I think sometimes you have to know when to call things a day. I understand what you're saying about the other businesses. However, if I was a business, I wouldn't let you be coming in and looking at my water testing because it's not saying they're domestic pipes in a domestic building, in a domestic setting with a domestic tap for washing your hands and doing your water and doing your cooking and doing your whatever. It's a completely different kettle of fish. So it's with a heavy heart that I think at this point we actually have to say, we have to stop now and preserve the actual monument as opposed to preserving, moving forward and persevering with providing water. No, sorry, that's my opinion.
Councillor Peacock.
Thank you. Yeah, I agree with a lot of what the leader of the council has said. At the end of the day, I couldn't countenance a functioning fountain that has basically non-potable water openly to be used by the members of the public, where our insurers won't protect us. I spoke with, in passing, a month or two ago with I think it was a member of the society, and what came out was the fact that it would need to be checked, but there's actually no space inside the aperture of the fountain to put these filters in.
Sorry, which is so when we've looked at these alternative solutions, the risk to the body of the fountain, space, it just the potential solutions we've been offered just are not viable because of the design and material of the fountain.
I mean, South East Water should have, I don't know, was a UV steriliser system recommended before? That should, if that was the case, there should have been an armoured cable run to the unit. I mean, as it currently stands, I couldn't support. It's fantastic that society has done, but it's even when usage is so low, and it points to our society as well. People aren't prepared to actually physically ditch their plastic and buy new bottles and top theirs up. That I'm using one that is a reused bottle. So as where we stand, I don't believe I could support it. If someone wants to go away, lead some investigative work, improve the risk space in the unit,
Been done.
the risk space inside it.
You just need one child to get something, and then we're dead. I was considered the water bill. That's a bad time, but that was not meant. It puts us in a sticky position, and where as a council, a position I wouldn't want to be in.
So thank you, Councillor Barron and Councillor Peacock. We do have to make a decision on this today. I'm in total agreement with Councillor Farron that due to the threat, with the insurers saying we can't cover you here, due to the usage, the amount of time that has been spent by officers on this project, it does not seem personally viable. That is my own view. Do I make a recommendation?
Yes.
So my recommendation would be for the third option, which is to basically permanently decommission the fountain, turn off the water supply, and preserve it as a monument, as an historical, as a monument.
Include this slide, include this.
unless the third party presents a viable solution within budget.
That's important.
Are there any-
Yeah.
Are there any questions? from
I'm happy to
council?
second that.
Thank you very much. Are there any comments? Mr. Barney?
Yeah, I'm assuming what we're talking about here is simply turning the water off, not actually doing anything
Yes.
Yes.
else that would block off water back.
No.
So it would be very straightforward. Should anything happen in the future, be different.
Yeah.
This doesn't totally get rid of the idea of
No,
something happening in the future, but just for now.
yeah, I mean, for now, I can't see how we can turn the water off. Current situation, you can't turn water.
I mean, it could be in 10 years' time, water purification technology is improving and advancing all the time. 5 years' time, it might be,
Yeah, exactly.
could be a much
we're
smaller
not
cartridge.
Yeah.
Can we have a vote on that? There are no further comments.
All in favour.
Thank you very much. So I believe that is it. I think we just have the action list to go through. Thank you very much for all the contributions and for the report.
Just to give you a quick update on the actions, we have one action which is to continue to talk to Mid Sussex regarding the state of their play parks, which is an ongoing task. We reported the fire damage at Brooklands Park recently. Another action was investigate into requesting compensation for the loss of hires at the old courthouse due to the building work. However, when we looked into the hire costings that we had lost, they were so low, it was not deemed worthy of pursuit. So we've closed that action. The water fountain, obviously, we've just discussed that this evening. And also, well, yeah, the final two actions we'll discuss this evening. So those can be closed now. Thank you.
Question?
No.
And that's for noting, I believe.
Yeah, noted.
Noted.
Yes, so that's it for the meeting today. Thank you very much, everyone, for attending and for your contributions. The next meeting is on Tuesday, the 6th of January, and I will close this meeting at 8:07.
Thank you. Chair.
Thank you.